Hey everybody, I am so sorry about number one, the delay in me informing everybody. The post I had planned for this morning didn't go up, so no worries. I'll do an updated post about this later. I moved Fab Fit Friday to Thursday because my daughter has purchased her first home and they're closing this afternoon, and I want to spend all day tomorrow helping, clean so they can move in on the weekend. So that's why I moved Fab Fit Friday, and yesterday was really warm, so it took me a while to get the post to inform everybody going, and then it got botched up and it didn't get posted. So I apologize for not giving any warning, but I will, you will be able to see the replay. And I have some fun things I want to share. The second thing I want to apologize for is I thought my webcam was fixed. So you can see I'm talking to you on my big F3 camera that I normally use for my my table shop. And I had to redirect it to my face to talk about things because when I went to start streaming, it decided to stop working, and it worked all week. I did some private Zoom fittings, it was working, and I thought it was fine, but now it's not working. So I think I just have to bite the bullet and buy a new one. So I promise you that I will get my little tech fixed. Hey Spot, welcome. I think it's like you and me because I'm kind of incognito here. Literally, I decided to switch Fab Fit Friday to Thursday, so it's like a special edition. But that's okay. I will, I'll go through everything I want to share with you guys, and then anyone who missed it can watch the replay. I apologize for that, but I didn't want to just cancel it because I love my Fab Fit Fridays, and it really keeps me on schedule for getting things done that I sort of promise to do during the week. Oh, hey Victoria, welcome. Oh, your son and his wife are closing on their house tomorrow. I think that is wonderful. Yeah, my daughter is very motivated. She and her boyfriend are buying this house, and they're very excited, and it's really close to me. So, like I said, I really just want to spend the day tomorrow helping them clean. So I'm excited, and I want to be here for you guys too. So I'm here a little early. Hey Sandra, welcome. Hey Crystal Sews, welcome. Hi Spot. All right, so yay. So if you missed it, my webcam's not working. I'm going to switch my camera to my table view. Oh, over there. And then I'll get going. So here's what I'm going to show you today. The first thing I'm very excited about, I think the failed test number 1 wash dry for the Fusible elastic was operator error, because when I really pressed it after watching a tutorial from Bra Builders, I got a much better result. I'm going to show you that. And then I'm going to show you how I'm constructing my shorts, and I have a tip for making an easier French seam. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. When I was fitting these shorts, this linen turns out to be a little bit scratchy, I think because it's printed. It's not soft and lovely like some of my other ones. So I am going to find like a very lightweight cotton voile or batiste or lawn to line these with. So I'm going to have to put finishing them on hold, but I want to show you how to construct the side seams because I already have the crotch and the inseam sewn together in French seam. So that's what we're going to do today. Let me stop and say hi to Barbara. Hey Barbara, welcome. Oh, you're at the doctor with your 98-year-old mom and may have to exit early. Oh, I'm so happy you came and to say hello, and God bless your mother. I think that is amazing. 98 years old, that makes my heart happy. Enjoy every second with her. Oh my goodness, you made my day. I hope she's okay. All right, so I'm going to switch my view here now, and I apologize. I will get this figured out. My husband was like, oh, it works. Just reboot your system, which I did, and actually that did help to some extent. But then, now it's not working again, so I don't know. Okay, so let me just show you this here first. And then I'm going to show you my French seam things. So this is the wash and dry, the second wash and dry test. And you can see it stayed fused really nicely. And still, look, I can really beat the daylights out of it and it stays. See, let me do this one. So I'm going to go ahead and order myself a bunch more of this because now I'm convinced it will work. And like I said, I should have brought a pair of my underwear that I didn't make, but that was like ready to wear with this kind of tape. Literally, and if I put it like this, you'll get a good visual. So this is the crotch right here. So this is the front piece, right? And this is the crotch area in here. When this elastic starts to come undone on my ready to wear, it didn't come undone anywhere except for right, where my inner thighs are. So, oh, excuse me. God bless me. Okay, sorry about that. I had a little sneeze. So I may go in and just, triple zigzag in here if it looks like it's going to start to fall apart once I make a pair of underwear. But I am very excited about this result. So again, I'm going to order myself a bunch of this elastic. I only bought a yard to try, because I just wanted to make sure I liked it. But I will buy more. Oh, and the other thing I want to tell you is I wore the underwear that I made out of this fabric with the, where I just finished it, not with this elastic. And it is so comfortable. So I'm very excited about my pattern. I'm going to be making more underwear. Going to do a lot with the elastic. So there you are. That takes care of that portion of our event here, our Fab Fit Friday. Oh, look you can see I'm wearing my little shorty shorts. See, in the corner, see, shorty shorts, because it's so hot. All right, so let me show you this now. You can see I've constructed the inseam, okay, and the rise using a French seam. And what I want to talk about here for a minute, let me just, I know this is going to kind of be a pain, but I'm going to make this on me again. And I just want to talk to you for a second. Let me just back this up. I'm going to stand over here so I'm not frightening. What I want to say is when you're fitting your shorts or your pants and you want to use French seams, you can fit them a little bit looser so you can take bigger seam allowances when you do your French seams. So when I fit my shorts on me, I made them just as a skosh looser than I wanted, and then I took up a 5/8. So I took an extra quarter out of each seam to do this French seam, because if you're working with a seam allowance that isn't as tiny as a finished 1/2 inch, so a quarter and a quarter, it's just a lot easier to sew nicely and accurately. So the way I sewed mine was I did an 1/8, like almost a quarter, really, like between an 1/8 and a quarter for the first pass. I trimmed any threads that were hanging off the raw edge, then I pressed it, and then I pressed it to encase the seam allowance, and I sewed the second seam so that the encased seams were on the inside. Now, if you fit your shorts right side out, like I did, so like when I had my shorts, when I was trying them on, they were right side out, and you can see I still have my big seam allowances here, right? They're still the big seam allowances. Everything's faced right side out, so you're already ready for the first step of a French seam, because when you sew a French seam, right sides face out in the beginning. So that's kind of what inspired me to do a French seam on these. And then I want to also explain to you that because I had basted them together, and then I basted them at the 5/8 to give myself that little bit more, to do the final fitting, I basted them in with that little extra amount. It makes it really easy to sew from your basting, which is your final answer, to sew that first seam, then take the basting out, because what it does is it holds the edges together for you, and I had a much easier time doing it. So I'm going to just demo that on one of the side seams for you now, and I'm going to put the camera back down. All right, so let me just put the camera back down, and I want to show you what I'm talking about here. And I want to get probably a little bit closer. Okay, Barbara, thank you for stopping in, and God bless your mother. That's all I just want to tell you that. All right. So here I have, this is my final answer, and I think you can see right here where the white thread is, the white basting thread, that's my final, my final answer. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to mark from my final answer, a generous 5/8, or not a generous 5/8, just a 5/8. So I'm going to use my blue, pen here, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark. And I'm just going to go all the way down, and I'm just going to mark it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the rest of this off. And I'm only going to do one side here because I want to get ready. As soon as the closing of the house happens, I want to be on call to run down there. I'm very excited. Now I know how my parents felt like when I bought a house. I couldn't understand why they were so excited, but now I get it. Basically, I'm just marking my, cutting off all the extra, basically. All right, so now I'm just going to take my rotary cutter, and I'm carefully just going to cut along my, my chalk line. And here's another thing. If you cut your raw edge, right, if you cut off the extra fitting allowance here, right when you're going to sew your French seam, then look at how nice and clean that is. I don't even have any hairies there. Versus if you look at what happens to the edges, like when they've been hanging out for a while, you have lots of little hairies. So trimming it right when you're going to sew it is another plus, because look at how nice and clean this edge is right here for the French seam. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and cut this off like this. Okay, that's all my extra. Oops. And now we're going to get the sewing machine up, and I'm going to show you how I sewed this French seam. I have to say I was a little disappointed that this fabric was so scratchy when I was doing the fitting, because I just wanted this to be a quick, easy breezy pair of shorts, but now I have to find something to line them, and I'm just going to create a second pair of shorts and set them in and then catch them on the waistband. That's how I'm going to put them together. And while I'm waiting for the waistband, I'll design some back pockets, and I'll share that with you next week. But also, I think sometimes linen is nicer if you line it anyway. So if I get, this is a really lightweight linen. I don't think it's a bottom weight. I think it's pretty, it is a little bit see-through. I would have had to do something anyway. So I'm just going to find some nice cotton lawn or cotton batiste that's really light to work with here. All right, I'm going to lower this, and then I'm going to pick this up to give you a nice view here. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I have my straight stitch foot on with my little narrow straight stitch foot with the, it's got the built-in walking foot. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm literally going to use the side of my presser foot as a guide to, let me just get this so you can see it nice and clear. I'm using the side of my presser foot as a guide for the raw edge. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch, and my stitch length is, like 3. I'm just going to go ahead and stitch it, and if you notice, I'm stitching like a generous 1/8 inch, like this. It's almost a quarter. But see how nice everything stays, because I've got the basting right here. It makes it really nice to work with. I don't have to pin it together. All right, so now what I'm going to do is the next step is going to be taking out the basting. And because I used a longer stitch, it should be pretty easy to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out the end here. And then I'm going to pull the thread, and I'm going to do it that way. So I'm not going to like pick. I'm literally going to just pull my thread like this. I can't tell which one's my bobbin thread. Bobbin thread pulls easier than the needle thread, so I'm not sure which is which here. I should have used a different color in my bobbin. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull one and see what happens. All right, so let me pull this thread here. So you can see I'm just petting it along. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just pulling out the basting. And then the nice thing is we've already sewn the first side of the first row of stitching for a French seam, which you know is right sides face out. See, I'm just petting the fabric along the thread like this. I'm not really pulling the thread, I'm moving the fabric along the thread, and I think that that can help it not snap. Although I feel like it's gonna snap, so once it snaps, I'll just find out where the break is and keep going. But basically, you can see this will only take me a couple minutes, and I want to make sure the other end is loose and ready to pull through. So I'm just pulling out a few stitches, you know, there, just to make sure they're free and ready to come out. And I'm just going to keep, you know, working it towards that end. I mean, and this is no joke linen. Like, this linen is a little bit, I don't want to say stiff, but I mean, it's because of the print on the fabric, it's not as soft and whatever as it would be. But see, I've already gotten the thread out. It only took me a second to do that, or a few, you know, like a couple minutes. And then the other thread comes out. And then the nice thing is you don't have that mess of all the little threads. You just have two long threads to clean up. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I want to apologize in advance. I cannot find my sleeve, you know, like the thing to press sleeves, my sleeve board. I cannot find it. So I'm going to have to just pretend I don't have that. And I'm going to show you how I would press this. So I'm just going to go ahead and notice which side is my front. This is my front. So I want to press my seam allowance to the back. So I'm just going to fold this in half like this. And I'm going to give the seam allowance a good press to the back. Oh, Victoria says, I just picked out overcast stitches from the Devil's House. I mostly had to pick out one by one. Yeah, sometimes that does happen, especially if you have a short, like a really short stitch length. All right, so now I am going to literally press this seam allowances flat. I mean, you can see already it doesn't take long for this edge to fray. See, it's starting to fray already. So that's why I thought, you know what, I'm going to encase these seam allowances and do a French seam so it stays nice and clean, and then I don't have to worry about, you know, obviously if I used a serger it would be fine, but I just think this is a little bit nicer of a finish. All right, so I've got it pressed to the back, and then before I do the next pressing, hey Carla, oh sorry you're late. Oh, don't apologize. I'm sorry that I sprang this on you, you guys. You know, coming on a day early. I apologize for that. So welcome. Hi Linda Lee. Hi at exercise at hospital in Los Altos, California. Well, I'm glad you're at exercise. I hope it's for a good reason. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and clip all these long hairs. I'm using my LDH scissors. So I'm just clipping these threads because you know what's going to happen. They will stick out of the French seam. Although, I'll tell you, if that happens to you, like let's say you do a French seam and you end up with some of these threads coming through to the right side. 9 times out of 10, if you give it a good wash and dry, a lot of them will, you know, shake out, or you can, you know, give them a trim after, but I want to make it as clean as possible here. This linen is really, you know, really frayed, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a little trim job like that. All right, now I'm going to turn my shorts inside out, and I'm going to press the seam allowance again. And when you're working on a French seam, let me show you the French seams I already did. So see, this is how the French seams look from the wrong side. See what a nice clean finish that is? Oh, and since we have 2 people that came late, I'll show this one more time. I showed this at the beginning, but look how nice the elastic worked when I really pressed it with high heat and then trapped the heat with my clapper. This was washed and dried like an Olympic sport, and look, it stayed perfect, and I can still stretch the daylights out of it. So I'm very happy with this fusible elastic, so I'm going to order a ton of it. All right, that was just a little thing for the people who just came. All right, so now what I'm going to do, this is how I like to press my second seam when I'm doing a French seam. See how I can see where the seam is? I want to make sure when I press that, that seam is sitting right on the fold. So see, I think you can see that. I'm going to zoom in as far as I can, and maybe I'll make it a little bit lighter so you can see, and very sharp. But basically I want to press it so the seam is right on the fold. Okay, I'm going to get my iron, and I'm going to go ahead and give this a nice press. Now to do the shorts, I took out the inseam, so I didn't leave the inseam basted because I wanted to do a French seam to the center front and center back crotch seams first. So I took the inseam out. So that was one seam that I did not have basting to work with. That's when I realized how much easier it was to work with the basting. So I did the front and back rise, then I did the inseam all in one shot. And if anybody's wondering, I am pressing on 2 of my wonderful Aliso New Zealand wool pressing pads. I have 2 on top of each other so it doesn't hurt my cutting surface. Okay. All right, so now, even though this is staying pretty nicely, you can see it's pretty, it's pretty flat. I am going to put a couple pins in there. Spot says, or take Scotch tape to get those pesky thread trimmings, but most gals probably know that. No, Scotch tape has a lot of superpower, Spot. I love Scotch tape for a lot of different things. I am going to use my favorite pins, which are now my forked pins from Taylor Seville. And I'm literally just going to put, maybe 4 or so. I just want to make sure everything stays flat. This linen is really well behaved. I mean, look how crisp that is in terms of a nice flat encased seam. But just to be safe, I'm just going to go ahead and put a few pins in here. Okay. All right. So now to do the second side of the second sweep, or the second seam for the French seam, I am going to give myself a generous 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to do is I want to see like a 1/16 of an inch. Let me make it so you can see it. Hold on. Like a 1/16 of an inch away. I'll make it a little less bright so you can see. And I'm just going to stitch along here now. I'm just going to take my time. I can feel where the fabric is, so I just want to make sure I'm stitching far enough away that I'm not, you know, letting that first seam allowance show. You can trim your seam allowance to a scant 1/8 inch if you want, but that's why I feel like if you give yourself a little bit of a bigger allowance, then you can skip that step. Okay. Oops. All right, so there is my second pass. So I'm going to get my pressing thing out here again. And the first thing I'm going to do is press this to the back. Oops. Okay. Make it a little bigger so you can see. So literally I'm pressing this flat to the back like this. I really wish I know where my sleeve board is. I mean, it's somewhere in this room. I moved a bunch of stuff around and I think it got stuck behind something. Okay. All right, so when you do a French seam, sometimes it's worth the time to make sure from the right side that you don't have any trapped fabric. Like what I want to show you here is after you press it from the wrong side, press it from the right side too, because I don't know if you can see it. There's a little, see how there's a little extra fabric caught in the fold here? So now that I have it going in the right direction, I'm going to press it from the top and I'm going to make sure that it's laying nice and flat. And there's no fabric caught, you know, in there. It's laying nice and flat. So like my seam allowance is laying nice and flat on the inside, and this is laying nice and flat on the outside. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a nice press. And of course, if you don't like the look of top stitching, I could have just left this like this. I didn't need to top stitch it. But I decided 2 top stitches, so I'm gonna top stitch now. But if you don't like the look of a top stitch, depending on what you're making or what your fabric is, you can definitely just leave it like this. It's not gonna hurt anything. You know, your seam is in there, right? It's like a seam allowance. But if you do top stitch it, then it will stay flat. It won't flop around. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm literally going to turn my shorts inside out. And I'm now going to go back to stitching not as wide away. So that's the other benefit of having the wider seam allowance. So now I'm going to stitch like that generous 1/8, almost 1/4. And I'm going to make my stitch length a little bit longer, maybe 3.5. And I was deciding back and forth if I should use black fabric or white, black thread or white thread. I decided to go with black. So see, now this seam allowance will stay flat. And I'm also holding it a little bit like this. You can see the side seams are really easy. Okay, I'm coming down to the end here. This is why I'm sewing inside the circle, because I can see that there's nothing underneath there. All the extra fabric is around the side. So see, if I make a bigger view, you can see it. This is all my fabric is here. So I can just easily sew without catching anything underneath here. All right. All right, so that's how I'm gonna do my French seams. So I am kind of excited about that. So let's see how that looks. Okay, so you can see I put the seam facing the back, so the top stitching is going towards the back, which I like. Let me see if I can show you closer. See? And then I have a nice clean finish. These are going to be really cute shorts. But see how nice... Oh, that's not the one. Hold on, over here. See how nice that is? It's just a nice, clean finish on the inside. Right? So I have time, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and do my second side. I should have done like the steps in tandem, but I wasn't sure how long it was going to take. But anyway, so after I do this side, I am going to get off. I'm going to go online and I'm going to find myself some nice cotton batiste or cotton lawn or some very lightweight cotton. Or what if I got a silk? Maybe I can find a nice silk to line this with. That would be really nice and soft. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe some silk lining? I just want it to be cool though. This right here, there's a little pleat in the fabric right here. So before I measure and trim on the side, I'm going to go ahead and just repress this flat. I think it got traumatized. Here we go. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right, so now that that's nice and flat, what I'm going to do again, I'm going to measure how much I'm going to cut off of my fitting allowance I did not need. I'm going to go ahead and mark that. So I'm just marking. Okay. All right, now I'm going to cut it. All right. Okay, now I'm going to sew the second French seam and then I will be ready to, oh, silk sounds nice and hangs up less when wearing. Yeah, I might try to find some silk, and actually I might have enough. I made a black silk charmeuse bias dress, and I might have a big enough piece of that actually to line these shorts. I'm going to go look for that when I get done here. All right, so again, we're going to be right near the edge. So a generous eighth, almost a quarter here. The real difference is when I do my second row of stitching, that's closer to, like, you know, it really almost 3/8. All right, hold on one second. I did a little funny like I curved funny here. Let me just sew straight, sorry. Okay, all right. Right now I'm gonna take out the basting again. So I'm gonna pick it out at the bottom. I'm also gonna pick it out at the top so it's free to start. You know, whatever side I'm working on, I want to make sure the tail end is free to come with it as I start pulling. Let me start here. All right, so again, we're petting the fabric along the thread. And I do want to tell you, the thread I used to baste, I use this Mettler Plus, and it's a pretty strong polyester thread. I had some of this in my stash. I have switched to using Mara 100, but Gutermann makes, you know, that Metrozine, Mettler Metrozine is equally as nice. It's a very strong thread, so if you're working with a quality thread, it's easier to pull threads out like this because it's not going to snap. So Metrozine by Mettler or Mara 100 by Gutermann are both really good threads. See how fast that came out? And again, I like the fact that I don't have lots of little pieces to keep track of. I can just, you know, throw away 2 pieces of thread here. All right, now we're gonna iron again. So again, I want to go towards the back, which will be this way. So I'm going to go this way. I'm just gonna, actually, you know what? Before I do that, I think the easiest time to clean up your edge is before you press anything. So I'm going to go ahead and pet all of my extra threads out like this. And then I can use my rotary cutter instead of the scissors. I was thinking about that when I was doing it. First time, I think this is easier. So see, I can just clip all these threads that are really close without really clipping off my fabric. There. See all this mess right here? That's all the stuff I clipped off. Now I'm going to get my pressing. And again, we're pressing towards the back. Okay, and then again, we're going to turn it this way. And that step where I showed you to press it flat, you know, before you know, press it over, you can do it in the inside too. Like, I can do it over here and make sure I don't have any extra fabric, you know, caught in the fold, but I think that that's good. Now I'm going to get it laying like this. I have 2 words for you. Sleeve board. Sleeve board. If you own a sleeve board, use a sleeve board when you're doing this. It makes it so much easier. Because see how I have all these creases now? I'm going to make it my business to find my sleeve board. I know it's in this room somewhere. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so now I have pressed this. Okay. And again, I'm just going to put a couple pins in there, and then I'm going to sew it. And then I'm going to see what I can see for linings. I think I like the sound of silk a lot more than the cotton now that I'm thinking about it too, because it'll be slippery, and you're right. Spot's 100% right. Cotton won't cling. I mean, the cotton might cling onto the linen a little bit, but the silk will not. So these are going to become fancy pants, fancy shorts, I think. All right, let me get this going here. Okay, let me just sew this. So again, I'm going to be sewing a generous 1/4 or almost 3/8 of an inch on this pass. Yay! All right, now we're going to press this to the back. You know, I'm looking at this, and I mean, it's obviously inside out, but this side doesn't bother me either. Like, this fabric is really pretty. All right, now I'm gonna okay, so we're gonna press it to the back, which is gonna go this way now. Okay, and now I'm going to turn it the other way so we can double check the press job. Okay, so again, I want to make sure there's no trapped fabric there. So I'm going to go ahead and give it, you know, another press from the right side. Go. All right, now we're just going to top stitch and we'll be done constructing these seams. This is so exciting. And again, I'm starting, and if you're wondering, when I turn these inside out, I am starting on the leg side, so I'm working towards the larger hole when I get to the bottom. Okay, so the leg, this is the leg. I'm going to go ahead and start there. Just make sure this is nice and sharp. Like this. Okay, so this is just going to be the generous 1/8 inch, and I'm going to put my stitch length on, like, you know, 3.5-ish. Okay. right, that bugs me, so I'm going to go ahead and clip that little thread. Boop. Okay. All right. Very exciting. Okay. All right, now I have constructed shorts. I'm so excited. I'm going to shut this off. Oh, DIYer girl is validating me. I was thinking Hawaiian when I was talking. DIY girl says, inside out fabric is the norm with men's aloha shirts in Hawaii. You may start a trend on the mainland to sew inside out with knit fabric. Well, this is linen actually, but look at, I mean, like I could totally wear these inside out. Look at, let me make it big. I'm going to decide about that because there's something about this muted side that I really like. And I think I did such a nice job with my French seams that, you know, if I wasn't lining them, I could make them reversible. But like I said, this itches. So I have to line them because I know they'll annoy me. But look how nice this is. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to design some patch pockets for the back. So I have, you know, pockets in the back. And I'm going to find whatever fabric I'm going to do to line. And I'm just going to use the same pattern to cut out the lining. And then I'm going to line these and I'm going to finish them up. Oh my goodness, I'm yawning. It's very warm in my studio, so I feel like I'm melting. Let me switch my self back. Hello. All right, wait, hold on. Oh, you know what? I can push this back so I'm not so large and in charge here. Hold on. And if I stand over here like this, then I'm like at a normal size for the frame. Oh, DIY girl says, better with woven fabrics. Victoria says, I could imagine a gathered muted dress and a bright side combo. Yeah, I was going to make a dress out of this fabric. That's what I bought it for, but I don't know. I wanted to make some floral shorts, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm excited. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me, and I just want to let everyone know that I am my J Stern Designs YouTube Insider Club. There is a link to join in the description below. It's a $99 charge for the club. There is no, it's not a subscription, so you don't pay another $99 next year, but the catalog will be updated every month, and we're doing a live meetup on the last Sunday of every month. So next weekend, I can't believe this already, next weekend is going to be our second meetup. And what I'm going to start doing for those meetups is we're going to introduce new members. And if you're new to the club, or if you couldn't come to the first meetup and you are in the club, you can watch the recording. And in the first meetup, everybody introduced themselves. It was really kind of cool. And then there's also a Q&A section, like a community board for the club. And someone posted a really beautiful blouse, but it's too tight under the arms. So as an exclusive tutorial for the club, I'm going to show how to put a gusset in a blouse to make it, make more room during that meetup. So there'll be some exclusive tutorials for people who are in the J Stern Designs YouTube Insider Club. And what the club is all of my tutorials organized by topic and by order of operation. So like if you're doing fitting, like let's say you're doing bodice fitting, I put all the tutorials in the order of efficient workflow for bodice fitting, and then I put all the other tutorials below it for special body specific things and other things like that. So it's a really cool club. It's updated every month. We meet every month, and new this month, we're going to be making an index for every topic. So like for Fab Fit Fridays, there'll be a index so you can easily find the project you're looking for, or if it's pants fitting or whatever it is, there's going to be an index of video titles so you'll know how to find things within each topic. Oh, let me just see. I hope, Carla says, hope you show the waistband install. I tend to struggle with them. Oh, okay, so Carla, these shorts probably will have an elastic waist, I think, but I will show you how I'm going to do it. And Victoria wants to know what payment methods are for the Insider Club. For payment, there is PayPal, but there's also credit cards and Apple Pay. So there's a lot of different options for paying. So if you're not a PayPal fan, you don't have to use PayPal. And speaking of which, I will be updating my online store where my patterns are on my website to also allow for credit cards and debit cards and other forms besides PayPal as well. I just haven't gotten around to that yet. So I will be updating the payment method for my, online store as well. So it's very exciting. I can tell you that 2 ladies already connected outside the club after meeting in the meetup, and I love when that happens. But if that's not for you, it's okay, because I'm still going to be here with you every Friday for Fab Fit Friday, and the same kind of magic happens here too. So it's only for people who really want to stop wasting time looking for specific tutorials of my content and also want more FaceTime with me. So either way, I'm happy snappy if you're just here with me. I'm happy snappy if you're in the club with me. If you're in the club with me though, you get to meet my husband. He is quite a character, and he will be part of the lives. I think the ladies really loved him the last time, because I got some emails from people saying how charming he was and how this he was and how that he was. So he's a lot of fun, and he's also my tech support. We stayed late to help 2 of the members get access to their video camera or their microphone when the meetup was done, because they couldn't, figure it out themselves. So he's very good at helping with tech as well. So he's our tech support. But anyway, that's my Fab Fit Friday for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I am going to be helping my daughter move into her house. I'm so excited for her and her boyfriend. I do think, well, I don't want to get ahead of them, but they're such a cute couple, and I'm just so happy for them that they are, making progress and getting their life going, and very excited for them. But anyway, so that is my report. Thank you guys for watching, and join me next Friday for updates on the shorts, because I'm hoping to have them almost done. I'll save the waist to do in Fab Fit Friday though, but I'm going to find the lining, get that all together, and then I'll see you next week. And there'll also be, some Fit Tip Tuesday, a part 2 from this week. So if you like Fit Tip Tuesday this week, there's going to be even more information about stretching the inseams. Spot says men are usually fun. Yeah, my husband is really, he has just a nice way about him, and he is very knowledgeable in a lot of the things that I'm not so knowledgeable in terms of the software and the tech, and like fixing my webcam that's not working right now. So I love having him aboard, and he's really shown some interest in coming on to Team J Stern Design, so I'm really excited about that. Let me see. Oh, Pat says congratulations to your daughter. Thank you, Pat. I'm so excited for her. And oh, Tana, hi. Tana, I'm so sorry. I kind of was late getting my post to my social media manager to tell everyone I was doing a day early. The reason why I'm going early, the reason why I moved Fab Fit Friday to Thursday is because my daughter is closing on her house today, and I want to help her all day tomorrow clean, and I didn't want to come back for Fab Fit Friday, and I didn't want to cancel Fab Fit Friday, so that's why I started it early. So I'm so sorry. Sorry. I'll put a link in the Facebook group so everyone who's there and didn't hear about it can watch the replay. And certainly, if you're watching this replay and you have questions, post those because I answer every question on my channel. So I'm sorry if you're watching this and you missed it. But again, I didn't want to cancel it. So, and it's really hot and I'm having a hard time getting things going in this studio because I don't have air conditioning. But anyway, so those are all my reports. Tana, I'm sorry. And to anyone else who's watching late or who comes on later and didn't realize that I was doing this early, I apologize. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay cool, and I will see you next Friday. All right, bye.